Now we're going to meet a remarkable man. He joined the Navy when he was 15 and was in combat throughout World War II.
Len Chivers was even seriously burned when his ship was sunk in the Mediterranean. But not only did he survive, he continued to serve in the Navy until 1974.
Yeah, now at the mere age of 99, he's told his story to Steve Humphrey.
My defence station was on the Pom-Pom.
Len Chivers is 99 years old, a veteran of World War II, who suffered severe burns when his ship was sunk, and he underwent pioneering plastic surgery in Basingstoke. He is also quite possibly one of the last people still living who witnessed one of the great tragedies of the war.
This is a now it can be told story. A salvo of torpedoes fired at close range struck HMS Barham.
I heard this bang while I was washing up, and I went out on deck. There was an enormous pool of smoke, and then she exploded.
Len was a boy sailor on HMS Queen Elizabeth in the Mediterranean when he saw what happened to HMS Barham. To this day it remains a very distressing sight. The tragedy was recorded by a newsreel camera crew. Len saw it with his own eyes.
You're talking about over 800 men were lost. The Barham, the 25th of November 1941.
Len Chivers was only 17 when he witnessed HMS Barham exploding. He'd joined the Navy when he was 15 and did his initial training on the Isle of Man.
It was 1 year, very, very thorough, very strict, at times harsh.
His first ship was HMS Queen Elizabeth, a battleship with a crew of 1,000 sailors.
It was a very prestigious ship. It was quite awesome, really, because, 15-inch guns, and she's very, very effective.
HMS Queen Elizabeth was docked in Alexandria harbour in Egypt when she was badly damaged. Italian frogmen placed explosive charges under the ship.
And at about 6 o'clock, I was coming forward, and there was this enormous explosion. I'm almost thrown off my feet. Then the ship, she settled on the bottom. We lost eight engine room staff.
Len was transferred to a smaller ship, HMS Kipling.
She originally had 10 torpedoes, 5 here and 5 there.
Tomorrow, Len will tell the story of how the destroyer was sunk during an attack by German bombers, and he'll describe how he was rescued after suffering severe burns when there was a big explosion on board the ship.
Yeah, and as Steve said there, you can hear more of Len's incredible story on tomorrow night's South Today. This evening on South Today, we're continuing the remarkable story of World War II veteran Len Chivers, a Royal Navy sailor from Portsmouth. Now 99, we've recorded Len's stories as part of the BBC's We Were There project. Yesterday, Len gave a graphic account of the day he saw HMS Barham blow up after being hit by torpedoes. Len was severely injured himself when his own ship was bombed and sunk. He's been talking to Steve Humphrey.
The ship got hit extremely close to where we were. It went into the engine room and boiler room.
Len Chivers has crystal clear memories of the day in 1942 when his ship, HMS Kipling, was hit by a bomb and he was badly burnt and his spine was fractured.
The bomb had landed very, very close to our 4-inch gun.
Using this detailed model of the destroyer, the 99-year-old can pinpoint where he was and the sequence of events that fateful day.
I had a steel helmet on. I presume it must have come off because if it had been on, I wouldn't have got the burn on my head.
The sea boils under the hail of falling shrapnel and spouts great columns of water as bombs rain down from Stukas, Ju-87s and 88s.
HMS Kipling was in the Mediterranean, based at Alexandria in Egypt, carrying out regular patrols and facing the constant threat of being attacked by German and Italian submarines and bombers.
I had a phone call from the bridge to say that there was a wave of aircraft approaching from the stern. Ju-88s. In a very, very short time came complete oblivion for me, completely unconscious.
There was enough time for Len to be placed in a life raft.
Fortunately, the Kipling was on an even keel, and she took 20 minutes to sink, as opposed to going straight down.
He was pulled on board another destroyer, HMS Jarvis.
I knew that I'd had burns on my face and that. I didn't know, it hadn't set in, that my spine was fractured. I don't know whether I'd been given any painkillers or not, I don't know, but it was, then the pain was intense and it was going to be very, very painful for about 3 weeks. It felt as though the ambulance had square wheels because it was a very bumpy ride.
Len was to undergo a series of operations over the next few years. Tomorrow he'll explain how some of his plastic surgery took place in Basingstoke, both during and after the war.
OK, now we've been hearing the remarkable story of World War II veteran Len Chivers from Portsmouth. He was badly burnt and fractured his spine when his ship, HMS Kipling, was bombed and then sank in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, after being rescued, Len was eventually brought home and underwent treatment at a specialist plastic surgery centre in Basingstoke.
Well, now at 99, he's been telling Steve Humphrey about the way he was cared for by the wartime medical services.
To a port in South Africa, a great hospital ship brings wounded British soldiers and sailors from the victorious battle zone of the Middle East. As happy a crowd of passengers as you'd find anywhere.
Len Chivers was amongst the injured who were shipped to South Africa.
It won't take long to build up their health in the good South African air.
A month and a half before his 18th birthday, he was badly burnt and his spine was fractured when a bomb dropped by a German aircraft exploded on his ship HMS Kipling.
So it went very, very close.
It happened in the Mediterranean in May 1942, and Len was patched up in a field hospital in Egypt before starting the journey to South Africa.
They did a little bit of plastic surgery on my face. They fitted me with a plaster jacket, which I was going to have for 9 months.
Len had lost all of his possessions when HMS Kipling sank, and he ended up in an unfamiliar uniform.
They didn't have any Matlows rig, so I got issued with a full army kit, including puttees and the lot.
Journeys in a hospital ship and on trains took Len to Durban in South Africa.
To a magnificently equipped hospital train built by the men of the...
And that was very, very pleasant. We're in a hospital right on the South Beach there.
After 3 weeks in the sunshine, he returned home. His severe burns were treated in Basingstoke.
Rooksdown House that was specialised in plastic surgery, where the chief surgeon was Sir Harold Gillies.
Len's initial surgery wasn't a success.
They said, look, when the war is over, you can come back and then we'll finish off the job.
Eventually, skin was grafted from his chest onto his face.
So in other words, my chest was secured to my face for 3 weeks. So you had to watch it. And then they swung the other piece in. And then they also did something about the ear.
Was that a big improvement?
Yes, yes.
With such serious injuries, Len says he was fortunate to survive the sinking of HMS Kipling in 1942. Moments before the ship was hit by a bomb, he had undone his bootlaces.
It was handy for when they put me over the side.
It increased your chances of surviving.
Well, so.
And do you count yourself as one of the lucky ones?
Yes, but the fact that she took 20 minutes to sink.
Len went on to become a Royal Navy officer, eventually retiring after a very remarkable 35 years service in 1974.
How wonderful. And Len, thank you so much for sharing your incredible wartime experiences with us all and, of course, with the South Today audience as well. Thank you for that.